Hello and welcome to our latest webinar, the next evolution of advisor support, introducing Lawdable by Blackfinch, the AI-powered legal platform. Blackfinch Investments is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Please take some time to read the important information. In the 19th century, Charles Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands and noticed finches with different beak shapes and sizes across the islands. He discovered these differences helped them adapt to the foods in their environment, making them one of the island's most highly evolved species. This discovery was the inspiration behind Blackfinch. The valuable behaviors of adapting and evolving in order to thrive have been the driving force of the business for more than 30 years. We're proud to manage over £950 million of assets for our clients. We've built our approach on more than 30 years of investment experience. We've grown a team of over 150 people working across the UK. We bring multi-asset investment expertise to help clients navigate changing markets. And we're committed to responsible investing and making considered long-term decisions.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Graham Robinson. I'm Strategic Distribution Director at Blackfinch Group, and I'm here with James Brookner, creator and founder of Wenup and Lawdable. This morning, I'm going to find out why James created Wenup, which is a D2C prenup legal platform service, and how that became Lawdable, an advisor-facing AI-powered legal engine. We'll go through how Lawdable helps financial advisors and tell you why Blackfinch is delighted to have acquired the business. James, thanks for being here today. To start, can I just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Morning, Graham, and thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for joining the call. In terms of my background, I spent 15 years as a consumer VC investor, focused on consumer marketplaces, and along the way also built another company before Wenup and Lawdable called DZ, which was scaled through to sort of Series A investment and is now a relatively substantial business. Along the way, also worked at Blackfinch Ventures in a former life as a director in the ventures team, and it was that role that I sort of left 4.5 years ago to start Wenup and Lawdable, and I've now found myself in a sort of full circle moment back at Blackfinch and building Lawdable with the team.
Brilliant. That's excellent. Great to have you back. Now, as I understand it, the creation of the original company, Wenup, the original company, came from a personal story. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I built another business called DZ over 10 years or so ago. And through the course of building that company, I also got married in 2018. And at the point that I got married, my wife and I were both bringing assets to the marriage. We were in our early 30s at the time. I was building DZ, and that had some value that I wanted to protect. And my wife had always out-earned me and been more successful professionally than me. So she had her own pensions and savings and other assets that she wanted to protect. And what we found at the time was that there didn't exist a solution for us that enabled people who were in our kind of position where we had a wealth but we weren't super wealthy to put in place a prenup that was affordable, amicable, and digital. So the sort of original thesis for Wenup was to solve that problem for other people, and then expand into other areas of law, which we've now started to do.
That's fantastic. And I think that's some of the greatest founder stories are built on personal experience and, something that's happened to you. So, and as I understand it, when you created the company, you had a business partner who was connected to on the legal side. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So my business partner, Mohsin, had been a solicitor at Linklaters and then a barrister. He'd encountered some of the challenges that I experienced in trying to put in place agreements for couples. And we set out together to try and solve this problem, me bringing the sort of tech background and operational expertise, and him bringing the kind of legal experience, and ultimately the initial panel of lawyers with whom we worked when we started the business.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and I know just to outline for everybody listening where Wenup is. Wenup is its own entity at the moment, and it offers D2C, the prenup agreements, but also some other documentation just at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. So Wenup's been in the market for between about 3.5 years, and we've become, within our niche, one of the biggest providers of couples agreements. That includes prenup agreements, postnup agreements, cohabitation agreements, wills, and sort of everything that sits adjacent to, at the intersection of legal services and wealth protection.
Brilliant. And so that's that. So as I understand it, so that's in the marketplace. It's doing brilliantly. But what you found was that you were getting referrals from the IFA community. Is that right?
That's right. So we initially set out to build a B2C business, and we've built a quite successful one in the sort of couples agreement space. And what we found as we began to build more of a profile, we were covered in the FT and the Times and some of the kind of bigger publications, is that we started to get inbound requests from IFAs looking to provide our services to their clients. About just under a year ago, we started to identify that as a potential route to market for the business, because we were seeing quite a lot of flow coming from that direction, and that the sort of vision for Lawdable is to productize that, essentially. So to provide for IFAs a way to distribute our couples agreements to their clients in a way that is seamlessly integrated into the workflows they already use.
Excellent. So Laudable is the evolution of that as an advisor-facing tool to be able to enable advisors to use the services and keep control of that whole process. So that's brilliant. And the reason why I think it's exciting is because in most of my conversations with advisors, you might have a conversation that says, well, how are you getting on with your solicitor contacts? And some of them are great, but the vast majority of them say generally it's one-way traffic. And secondly, they lose a bit of control of the client and the process. And thirdly, that can be quite costly for them. So presumably, is that the sort of feedback you've had from advisors, that you're solving those problems?
Yeah, we've heard all of that feedback from advisors. I think the way it works generally at the moment is it's a bit of a handoff, as I understand it, from the IFA to a trusted will writer or solicitor that they work frequently with. But the IFA doesn't have much control of that process, and importantly, not limited control of the quality of the delivery, and ensuring that their client ultimately gets an agreement that they can rely upon should they ever be in the unfortunate situation of needing it. The Laudable vision is to take what we've done successfully in B2C with prenups and expand it into every area of where legal services and wealth interact, and to give advisors control and oversight over that process. But importantly, for advisors not to be professionally responsible for the output that comes from it. So we combine AI that we use to deliver the initial draft of the product, excuse me, but everything we do is delivered by lawyers. So we have a bank of solicitors and barristers who check the product from our AI system and ensure that it's fit for purpose for the client for whom they're working.
Indeed. Now, I'll let you get a drink of water there, but let's just dwell on this point, right? So loads of people on this call will be saying, hold on a second, if this is an AI-powered legal engine, how does that fit in with legal advice, and where does the legal advice come from? Now, I know we'll see some of this on the demo, but just can you go deeper into that point about how it fits in with the financial advice process and where the actual legal advice comes from?
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk within professional services more generally about how AI is going to replace elements of the professional services advice space, both financial services and legal advice. Our strong view is that AI is going to work, particularly in the legal sector, is going to work side by side with lawyers to deliver a cheaper but better quality end product for clients. And that's the vision that we set out to build within B2C that we're now expanding into B2B. So our tech replaces what the kind of a junior lawyer or paralegal might do in putting together the initial draft. We base that draft on strong precedents and have our own AI paralegal that we've developed with a team of PhDs to review the output. But crucially, once that draft is prepared, each person that uses our platform has the choice of a panel of lawyers to advise them on the agreement. So we're not replacing lawyers in the process. What we are doing is replacing some of the more mechanical stuff that happens before a lawyer is needed. What that means, again, is that instead of meeting with a junior lawyer and doing the drafting and then perhaps engaging with a partner at the end of the process, the client is only speaking to a very experienced lawyer once their draft is produced to advise them on the pertinent high value, high impact areas of their will, prenup, postnup, trust, or any other legal agreement that they power through us.
Excellent. So just to be clear, that's you're getting regulated legal advice right at the crucial point. But it seems to me what you're describing there is something that vastly streamlines that process and also will reduce cost along the way. So we're getting a reduced cost. A better service because you're able to communicate better and just something where the advisor feels more in control of it. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough. And there's a couple of situations now. Obviously, Blackfinch deals with the big part of its business is in the assets transfer zone, if you like. So either in the IHT zone or in the preparation for marriage, death, and everything else. But there's two particular marriage situations that we're talking about earlier. Both second marriages and also sons and daughters marriages. Can you just go through those? Because I think people will be interested in them.
Yeah, so I'd say our customer demographic can fit into two broad buckets. We have people who are getting married for the first time, often in their 20s and 30s or sometimes 40s, who are have either pre-acquired wealth or been gifted maybe a deposit for a home from their parents, who are looking to ring fence their premarital estate. In those cases, what we found in the last 2 years is it's very common for the parent to be involved in the process. So perhaps join the first call with one of our team, sometimes even to join the call with the lawyer alongside their son or daughter, to ensure that if their child gets married and potentially gets divorced, what they have gifted to them is protected via a prenup or a postnup. Then on the kind of second marriages side of things, we see people getting married 50s and upwards, often with children from previous marriage, sometimes on both sides, and wanting to make sure again that if they get divorced, perhaps they've experienced the financial pain that a divorce can cause once already. They want to make sure that if should it happen again, that their children's inheritance is protected and that they can at least take what they brought into the marriage back should a divorce occur.
Yeah, and those two things, I'm sure there's loads of people listening to this call now who will be nodding along going, yeah, that's exactly the issue that we're facing because the biggest barrier to gifting, if you like, as one of the strategies for IHC mitigation is how do you have some form of control either on the marriage happening that your kids are, if they're going to get married, and you don't know whether the potential of the person is good or bad, and also that second marriage, the later in life second marriage, the control of gifting through those channels as well. So I'm sure everybody on here will be going, that would be a valuable addition. Okay, now we do want to do the demo, but just before that, I just wanted to cover from Blackfinch's point of view, this is ideal. So having Lawdable on board is ideal because of the advisor community we serve and where they mostly interact with their clients. It's like a marriage made in heaven, right? No pun intended there, which is what we were talking about. But the Lawdable services go across so many parts of the proposition. It was really a no-brainer for Blackfinch to acquire the business. And secondly, I think that Blackfinch is unique in its entrepreneurial nature and its positioning to be able to do this so swiftly as we have. So it's a fantastic thing from our side. We're really excited. But just let me know why you obviously would have had many offers on the table and everything else. Why did you choose us?
Yeah, so when we were at the beginning of the year, when we were starting to think about how we build the product for the advisor community, due to the amount of inbound we were getting from IFAs, our initial plan was to go and raise a Series A investment round and hire a team to go and do that, to go and execute that plan. And we spoke to Blackfinch originally about a balance sheet investment possibly into the business. What became apparent after a few conversations is that joining forces and working on this business inside of Blackfinch made much more sense to us as a business and of course the Blackfinch, because the amount of distribution, knowledge, infrastructure, and access we as a business would get by being part of Blackfinch. And having worked in the business myself, I was aware of all of those sort of traits that you've just listed in terms of the entrepreneurial mindset, the ability to move quickly and identify opportunities, all of which we've already seen within our first month of being part of the group, and some of the conversations and early product ideas that we've been exploring together. So it was a no-brainer for us, and as you say, hopefully a very synergistic acquisition for Blackfinch.
Yeah, certainly so. And that, as you say, that entrepreneurial nature and the fast-moving element is one of the reasons why I've joined this business, and what an exciting place it is to be. Right now, are you okay to go through a demo, if that's all right? Just a demo of certain sections of the proposition. Are you okay to do that just now? And we'll have a conversation about it in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to talk through some slides that we prepared that showcase what the Lawdable platform will look like for IFAs and some of the features it will include. The first point to note, excuse me, is that each IFA will have a 1 second, sorry. And that each IFA will have its own branded version of Lawdable. So they'll be able to include their logo, their colors, any content that's relevant to them. And what the client will see is that it's IFA name powered by Lawdable by Blackfinch, that they can set up and provide to clients who wish to use the service. If we skip then to the next slide. Within the panel that the IFAs have access to, each IFA will be able to see how many agreements they've recommended to clients in the course of the month, the status of those agreements, and also will be able to go into the names of the individual clients they have using the service, which you can see on the screen here, to see what stage in the process their client is at. This is really important. So one of the key pieces of feedback we've heard from IFAs is that they feel a bit of a loss of control when these referrals are made, and sometimes they're not sure what's being followed up on, how quickly things are moving, where they might need to step in to make sure the client gets what they need. And the portal that we're producing allows the IFA to do all of that, again, importantly, without assuming professional responsibility for the outcome.
I think that's a massive point. There will be many people on this call going, hold on a second. If I could gather together my top 5 things around the office that I've referred to solicitors, would I be able to see them in one place with their progress on one screen? And the answer would be probably not. So that's an amazing leap forward.
Thank you. And it really seems to resonate with IFAs in terms of being able to track that progress, also being able to sort of track the total number of referrals that have been made, and see in one clear dashboard the status of all the legal referrals they have going on at any point in time. If we skip then to the next slide, we'll see the IFA being able to add a client to the platform. So this can be done in 2 ways. It can be the IFA allowing the client to input the information themselves. So this would just be a simple invite to the platform from an IFA to a client to start populating an agreement. And that would be the sort of self-serve option. Or the IFA has the option to populate an agreement for the client, and we'll shortly see what that would look like. But this is a sort of a mode switching mechanism where the IFA and the client can assume responsibility for different parts of the input process to ensure it ultimately gets completed. We skip forward to the next slide. This is a view of the sort of client dashboard. You can see some of the agreements that are available. We have deeds of trust, wills, separation agreements, and of course prenups and postnups. What we're now going to see is a deed of trust being populated. So if we skip forward again, you can see what a guided intake would look like for a client or an IFA populating an agreement. And when you see this happening dynamically, you can see the sort of magic of the platform in full flow. On the right-hand side of the page, you have a legal precedent document, and we have a number of these that we have trained our proprietary AI tools on to populate. And on the left-hand side, we have a very simple chat intake where the IFA or client is asked a series of questions, and they can see in real time on the right-hand side the declaration of trust, in this case, being populated.
Now, James, this is the most exciting part of this for me, right? And it was only a pity we just for the webinar we just couldn't get the animation to work right. But as you see these two bits, for me, a lay person, you've got a legal document on the right-hand side, which I recognize even down to the typeface. And then on the left-hand side, you type in what you need to get done, and it appears on the right-hand side. It's an absolutely fantastic piece of kit just to see a proper legalese. It looks that way, it sounds that way, it feels that way, evolving on the right-hand side. And then that's what's transferred onto the lawyer. So amazing piece of kit there.
Thank you. And look, there's a few crucial points I would make within this as well. People have the option now to go to an off-the-shelf AI tool to produce a prenup or a deed of trust or whatever legal document they might need. But what we, along with the lawyers that we work with, have identified is that in most cases, those documents are not yet sufficiently robust to cover particularly nuances within a client situation, and are in some cases a long way off. So we've looked at what they can do, particularly on the nuptial agreement side, because we've trained our AI on proprietary legal precedents produced by the lawyers with whom we work. We're able to do this robustly and importantly with full data protection and privacy in mind for the client. So again, a lot of people aren't comfortable just inputting all of their private data into Claude or ChatGPT to produce a legal document. We've developed our own proprietary tools to ensure that all of that important, sensitive client information is protected and is being done in a sandboxed and ring-fenced way, which isn't apparent from what you can see on the screen, but it's crucial to giving clients confidence in the platform they're using.
And just your business partner is AI Supremo, is he not?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have a PhD in AI and ML as our CTO, who has designed and also with a specialism in data security within that. So he has designed the sort of knowledge graph and thought engine behind this platform and how it works, and has made some very thoughtful and I would say sort of compelling decisions about the way that the future of legal services will look, which is, in our view, proprietary AI developing documents, but not removing the lawyer from the process, including the lawyer at the really important high frequency parts of the process.
Excellent. Sorry, I've taken you off on a bit of a tangent there. I hope that don't mind, but please carry on.
Well, at all. So if we skip through to the next slide, I'm going to touch on some of the sort of review mechanisms we have in place to ensure that what the AI produces is checked robustly before the lawyer meets the client. We have our own AI paralegal that we've been developing for over a year that's been trained on, and again, a number of historical precedents, what we've seen in the market, working with our lawyers to ensure that the agreement that our AI tool produces doesn't have any gaps, and there are some, a number of checks carried out from a kind of an integrity perspective. Once the AI paralegal has done its work, we then have a human in the loop, a human paralegal, who does another check with the client to make sure that they're happy with the draft. And only once the client is happy with the draft will they meet the lawyer. And the lawyer is normally picking up in a document that is 95% of the way there, and they are working on that sort of final 5%, sometimes more, to amend and edit the agreement in line with their client's instructions. And what we'll see if we skip forward to the next slide is the client being able to select a lawyer from our panel. Again, my experience of hiring law firms in the past is that sometimes it can take quite a long time to be onboarded. You don't know when you're going to meet the lawyer. You don't know who you're going to be meeting, whether it's a junior lawyer or a senior lawyer. Within our platform, the client and the IFA has control over, firstly, who they select, who they're going to meet, when they're going to meet them, and how quickly it can happen, which means that the whole thing moves end to end very seamlessly without unnecessary delays. And you'll see that reflected. If the people on the call want to check out kind of Wenup and the reviews that we receive from the B2C side of things, that's reflected in the kind of positive feedback we get from clients, and is really why we've been so successful, because we've taken a process that previously took a long time, was opaque, expensive, sometimes adversarial, and analog, and made it the opposite of all of those things, kind of digital, affordable, efficient, and collaborative.
I think there's a couple of things there for me. If I was an advisor listening to this, I'd be thinking, okay, I've actually corralled the legal person into dealing with just what I want them to deal with, and not straying from that at any point, because I think that's quite crucial to, if there's a whole string of financial advice going on and a legal part of it has to be done, what you don't want is anybody else entering into that advice process, either inadvertently or not. So you're just giving that lawyer almost a binary scenario at the end of the planning bit. But it's just the control element. If I was a financial advisor, being able to control the interaction of the client, the ability of the client to stay within my parameters, and also to control the lawyer at the end as well.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry, I took you offline there again. So you back to the presentation.
Yeah, so I think we're at the end of the demonstration. If we flick to the next slide, I think that sort of covers the end-to-end process. And to summarize it starts with our AI tool that does a lot of the drafting. That is proprietary, and is based on legal precedents that we've spent a long time analysing and collecting. We then have an AI paralegal that reviews that output, and that's again a proprietary tool that we've spent quite a long time and a serious amount of R&D in producing. We then have a human in the loop that checks the work of both the AI paralegal and the AI drafting tool. And then at the end of the process, we have a panel of 12 law firms, a combination of direct access barristers and solicitors, all of whom are very experienced, because we have quite a high bar of experience to be on our platform in the first place. And then a fairly rigorous way of making sure that the lawyers on the platform are of high quality, to advise the clients at the very end of the process. So that's a sort of end-to-end step. And it starts with, in the demo that you've seen, with the IFA having its own sort of white label version of the platform that they can use to invite their clients to join and monitor the progress of the clients that are on the platform using it.
That's fantastic, James. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for going through those little bits of demo, and also for putting up my questions just there. I think it's amazing. Now, we said earlier in the call that it was just a no-brainer to get these two companies together, and certainly from Blackfinch's point of view, if you really want to serve the advisor community and make sure they can free themselves up to give more advice to their clients and have deeper relationships with their clients, then it's absolutely ideal for us to have you on board. And if you don't mind, I just want to show people on the call where this fits into the wider Blackfinch business. So if we just look at this following slide. Now, essentially, everybody knows that the advisor is the heart of Blackfinch's business. This is the channel that we are looking after without question. And we want our BDMs out there in the country and in the office here to be trusted partners of those advisors. And there are a set of types of clients that we think we can help most in the advisor's advice process. And those sets of clients are through stages of life. So these from the left-hand side, the workplace drivers, so the people who get most of their advice from their workplace, most of their savings from their workplace. Got accumulators, a little step further from that. Got advisor-led accumulators where you have more sophistication and more advisor input. Tax mitigators we know and love. That's part of our core business, as is intergenerational asset transferers. And now we have on the right-hand side legal services. Now, I wanted to find some way of having the legal services box exist all the way across from left to right. It does actually. If you have a workplace person who's using an employee benefits tool to have some financial services, they also may well need a prenup or a cohabitational agreement. So when you look at the products that we've got to offer in each of these boxes, we really have quite a number of services to offer advisors, from Thrive employee benefits on the left-hand side through MPS, our beloved VCT and EIS, and our business relief services. What we talked about today really folds over all of those. So Blackfinch is here to develop deeper relationships with our advisor partners and give them the products to deal with their clients. And our future product direction, we've got 3 things on the go at the moment: a tax advantage tailored portfolio service, a VCT ISA, and a BR growth product, which is going to fit into a ever-growing segment of the BR market. And you can see really that all we want to do is support advisors to adapt, evolve and thrive at every stage of their journey. That's what we're about. And I hope you can see where the legal services engine from Lawdable fits in, and it goes across that entire process, that entire life cycle of that client. So I hope that gives everybody a view of where things are. I think we've got a Q&A. We've had some questions coming in on the chat. The first one is, why aren't the Republic of Ireland in the World Cup? Right, I can see who that's from, and you're not funny. All right. So James, so I think we might have covered this one a little bit. It says, are you giving clients data to AI, and how protected is it? Now, you did say something about it, but it's worth reiterating again, just the point on data.
Yeah, so because of our CTO's background with a PhD in AI ML and with a focus on data security, that's something we're really sensitive to, and are therefore not using off-the-shelf AI for anything that touches client data. We have our own proprietary models that we use for that part of our process. We will integrate with OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, for more generic stuff. But anything that touches sensitive information is built and dealt with by our own proprietary models.
Excellent. Okay. And secondly, what do the lawyers think of it? Surely they hate it. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a question we get often asked, and the truth is that it's the opposite of that. So there's, as I said earlier in the call, there's a lot of talk about how the legal industry is going to be eaten by AI, and there are some businesses being built to sort of do just that. Our business model is the opposite. We are enhancing to lawyers. We are, for many of them, a really powerful business development tool. We've had lawyers that we work with that have hired that doubled the size of their business off the back of the amount of flow they have from our B2C company. A lawyer is involved in every process. For the prenups, it's 2 lawyers because you have 1 lawyer for each member of the couple. And with the amount of, with over 100 couples a month using our service at the moment, that's, can represent quite a significant commercial opportunity for the lawyers. It's a collaboration and a partnership that works really well. And I imagine there are areas of the legal industry that it wouldn't be right for. There are some very nuanced, highly complex areas of law that will always need a human from end to end. But what we have done is taken the more mechanical parts of a drafting process and automated it with human oversight to basically feed more business to very competent group of lawyers. So, in general, it works very well.
So they do like it. That's good. Now, very good. And then just lastly, how good are the lawyers you're choosing? Now, that is a good question in terms of the end quality of those people.
Yeah, so we only will take lawyers that have significant experience in working on the particular product that they're offering. So nuptials agreements, I think the average number of years experience of the lawyers on the platform is between 20 and 25 years. So we tend to attract lawyers at a more senior end of their career, particularly in kind of family and private client work. These are people that are used to dealing in contentious divorces, which can be quite emotionally taxing for the lawyers as well as the couple involved. And the idea of taking on, you know, in the beginning of our business, prenup, so couples that are in love and getting married and amicably trying to agree something was quite attractive, and being able to fit the work around their other schedule, those are their court schedule and their other work, appealed. So we tended to attract more experienced people. And then once lawyers are on the platform, we constantly follow up with clients to figure out whether they've had a good experience with the lawyers. If we ever we have a kind of 3-strike policy. So if clients give us if we get 3 pieces of negative feedback on a given lawyer, we'll remove them from the platform. We've had to do that a couple of times in the last 4 years. But the lawyers that remain with us are very high quality, generally above 20 years experience, and very passionate about what they do, which is partly why we've been successful in building the business we have, because it relies heavily on the lawyers who are ultimately underwriting the end product.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, there's one other bit. Well, it's sort of a conglomerate of many questions. So, can you just run through what the services that are currently provided and the services in plan, if that's okay?
Yeah. So at the moment, we offer prenups, postnups, cohabitation agreements, and wills. And are shortly going to be offering prenups in Scotland as well. On the roadmap for the next 6 months, and this is something we're working very closely with the team at Blackfinch on, is to expand into every area of legal services that intersect with wealth. Next on the list will be LPAs. We're looking at deeds of trust. We're looking at asset gifting, asset protection. Anything where there is a kind of wealth protection, wealth preservation angle, and a legal product to be offered is where we will look to play. And we've sort of scaled up our development team to be able to roll out into each of those sectors in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, that's good. And there's a number of questions about each of those you mentioned on the list, so I hope that covers people's questions. Okay, look, that's all we've got time for just at the moment. But I'd just like to end on a couple of things, if that's all right. Firstly, James, thanks so much for getting on here and demonstrating this to us. Secondly, thanks everybody for joining this morning. There are more questions on there which we'll get back to you, hopefully via your local BDM. But if I may just leave you with, if I can, 3 reasons to call or get in touch with your local BDM. First of all, to find out more about Lawdable. Secondly, to get expert knowledge on tax planning. So we are the experts on all things to do with tax mitigation and assets transfer. Please do call us for that. And lastly, to discuss tailored portfolio options or employee benefits and our offerings on that, please do lift the phone to your BDM. They'll be delighted to speak to you. So for now, thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.